Admit it. How many times have you torn your own soul apart, staring into the abyss at 2 a.m. within silent walls, all for the cruelty of someone who never deserved you? You writhe in the agony of betrayal. You replay their every word, their every disdainful glance. You exhaust yourself trying to prove you are the victim. But do you realize a profoundly devastating truth? The one who planted this agony inside you, right now, might be sleeping in absolute peace, or laughing under a distant sky. They do not know you are bleeding, or worse, they simply do not care. The Buddha once left behind a truth that pierces the soul. Holding on to anger is like drinking a deadly poison, and carrying the delusion that your enemy will perish. Only you imprison yourself within the dungeon of memories, condemning your own fragile existence alongside a rotting burden of yesterday. Stay with me for a moment as we unfold the parable of the rotting potatoes beneath the eaves of an ancient temple. I am not asking you to become a saint, tolerating malice. This is here to shatter your cage, to set your wings free, to salvage the sovereign peace you inherently deserve. Close your eyes and walk with me down the ancient path of white clouds. Beneath the shade of a millennial banyan tree, where the dust of time drifts silently in the morning sun, sat a Zen master with eyes as deep as an autumn lake. One day, he handed each of his disciples a rough burlap sack, instructing them, "Every time you harbor wrath or hatred toward someone, carve their name deeply into a potato, and place it in this sack. Carry it with you, always and everywhere." The naive youths eagerly accepted. They thought it was merely an amusing game. But little did they know, the wheels of destiny turn. The law of karma is perfectly just, yet brutally unforgiving. Look closely, beneath the flickering oil lamp at the midnight hour. Each rusted blade grinds deeply into the rough skin of the potato. We firmly believe that by carving our enemy's name, we anchor their sins, ensuring that for lifetimes to come, we shall never permit ourselves to forget. But we are wrong. Tragically wrong. Every spiteful stroke of the blade is an invisible slash, tearing apart our own sanctuary. We are turning our own hearts into a barren wasteland, willingly opening the gates for the hungry ghosts of resentment to rule. We enshrine the phantom of the one we despise the most, at the very altar of our mind, only to inherit a legacy of profound sorrow. Time relentlessly marches on. The potatoes in the bulging sack began to fester, sprouting dark, sinister molds, and oozing a foul, toxic sludge. The burlap sack grew heavier on his shoulders by the day. It chafed his flesh until it bled. The stench of decay clung to his garments, crept into his every breath, and seeped into his restless, feverish dreams. The young man could no longer swallow a simple bowl of rice, nor find a moment of restful slumber, because that walking graveyard was perpetually by his side. You see, even if we sit amidst a fragrant lotus pond in the morning light, even if we are surrounded by a symphony of inviting birdsong, our minds remain besieged by the stench of the past. We human beings are truly strange entities. We love to fiercely clutch our pain, like a man dying of thirst, choosing to drink venom. We are attached to the sack of hatred, under the delusion that the crushing weight upon our own shoulders will somehow bring our adversary to their knees. We have allowed our ego to deceive us. We allow the grievances of yesterday to rob us of our pure presence in the here and now. What a tragedy, to carry a corpse within your soul, under the illusion that you are seeking justice. The ancients often warned, the cup must be empty. To receive the pristine stream of tea, the mind must be empty. to contain true equanimity. But look at our hands. Veins bulging, rigid to the point of numbness, merely to grip tightly the neck of a sack, dripping with black decay. When a hand is already occupied, tightly clutching onto hatred, where is the space, where is the purity, to receive the graceful blessings of the universe? A warm cup of human kindness is offered, but we clumsily let it shatter. It is not because we are not thirsty, but because we cannot bear to let go of the rotting garbage of yesterday. Holding resentment within not only incinerates your inner world, but it strips away your sovereign hands, turning you into a miserable beggar, dying of thirst right beside a crystal-clear spring. And the most agonizing tragedy, reaching the very heavens, is that suffering is contagious. We rationalize, my hatred is mine alone to bear. It concerns no one else. But when you drape yourself in a cloak of decay, that stench will contaminate everything you touch. The purest souls, like innocent angels, those who love you unconditionally, when they joyfully run to your side, must retreat in fear. You never meant to hurt them, but the bitterness, the animosity radiating from your being, has erected a fortress of thorns. Hurt people, hurt people. The one who carries deep wounds unintentionally scatters those wounds upon others. Hatred has mutated you into a desolate island, driving away every warm embrace, trying to tether you back to humanity. We collapse onto the cold earth, howling at the sky. Why? I am not at fault. I offered my pure heart. Why did they treat me with such cruelty? I am right, they are wrong. There, that is it. Our ego reveling in the role of the victim, clinging to that arrogant righteousness to legitimately nurse the venomous serpent named hatred. But alas, the largest potato, the highest ego, is the one that reeks of the most profound decay. The old Zen master merely smiled, his frail finger gently touching that mass of resentment. Whether you are right or wrong, whether you are the victim or the perpetrator, once the flames of wrath are ignited, they will incinerate the sanctuary of your own mind first. What good is the battle for right and wrong, when we are suffocating in the filth of our own making? And my friend, human existence is as fragile as a dewdrop on a blade of grass. You breathe out, who can promise you will breathe in? A single yellow leaf tilts, falling from the branch in the silent autumn afternoon. Staring at our reflection in the lake's mirror, we are struck with sudden terror. The hair has turned to frost. The corners of the eyes are deeply etched with the crow's feet of exhaustion. Youth has slipped through our fingers entirely unnoticed. There are only 2 days in the year you can do absolutely nothing about: yesterday and tomorrow. Mournful, transitioning, why do we squander this priceless and fleeting treasury of time merely to serve as a devoted temple guard for a tomb named the past? It is time to set the sack down, but do not discard it with disgust. Gently take that blackened potato and immerse it into the crystal-clear waters of awakening. That rotting outer shell, is it not merely ignorance, the insecurities, the fears, and the suffering in which our enemies themselves are trapped? A happy soul embodies equanimity. Only a miserable, barren spirit goes around planting daggers in others. When we see through to the agony behind their cruelty, compassion suddenly blossoms. Washing away the residue of resentment, we do not merely forgive them, but we sever the chains of karmic debt, returning to ourselves an emaciated spirit, now made whole and free. The greatest surrender in human life is not to deny or flee from the pain, but to bravely face it and bury it deep beneath the mud. The Zen master Thich, Nhat, once taught, no mud, no lotus, those heartbreaking tears, the injustices of yesterday, if we know how to embrace and transform them, have now become the fertile silt, nourishing the bud of awakening to emerge. Unload that sack of rotting potatoes from your shoulders, my friend. Your hands are now clean. They are completely free. For so long, we mistakenly believed that pinning hatred to our hearts was a way to punish those who hurt us. Yet the parable of the rotting potatoes has revealed a brutal truth. Resentment is the deadly poison we drink ourselves, hoping the other will perish. Forgiveness is not an act of cowardice, nor a hasty favor to the wicked. It is the ultimate imperative to rescue your own existence and the sovereign peace of your soul. Humanity has a habit of glancing back at the past, only to squander the brief treasury of a lifetime on bygone grievances. All things are impermanent. When your hands are busy clutching the filth of yesterday, you strip yourself of the chance to cherish the graceful serendipities of the present. Instead of playing the temple guard for old sorrows, practice returning to your breath. We often rationalize that our bitterness is aimed only at the enemy, unaware that suffering is profoundly contagious to the innocent. When we drape ourselves in the darkness of resentment, we unintentionally drive away the very angels of love. To forge healthy connections, practice seeing through the pain of others with eyes of compassion, for the one who hurt you is merely trapped in their own quagmire of ignorance. The journey of healing is never easy, but it always begins with a single sovereign act of letting go. Today, if you are ready to lay down the sack of hatred from your shoulders, leave the word liberation in the comments as a sacred vow to yourself. Gem Wisdom will always be here, listening and walking beside you through every breath of awakening. Empty your hands to quiet the mind. Forgive the world, and claim your ultimate catharsis and redemption.